Alrighty, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Hajim Zero here, back with a quick movie review. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. Currently, I'm not using my stand because it's somewhere else, and I'm kind of lazy to go and get it right now. Um, so this movie is The Final Master. It's a kung fu film. Came out like 2015, and it was a very interesting film. It's about a Wing Chun master uh, that decides to I think he's trying to open a school or teach some yeah, he's trying to teach someone, but uh well, take that back. He's trying to open his school and he can't until he teaches someone, and that student beats like eight different schools, which pretty much is not an uncommon practice, as you can tell with the Bruce Lee stuff. If you've seen his autobiography movie with Jason Scott Lee, and of course, probably in real life, that's what happened with him too. Mainly because I thought, he was trying to teach non Chinese, but I guess in general, in a way, traditionally, they have those certain set of rules. If you want to do something, you have to do pretty much your mission to say you're a good teacher. You have to teach one person, and that person has to demonstrate their skill. But the funny thing with this film or the story in the movie, it's speculated that it takes place like in the 1930s, possibly 50s. And I'm saying that because it takes place in Tianjin in China. And I'm kind of mixed. I don't think they even stated, or even if you go online and look it up, uh pretty much the cars kind of give away the era, but at the same time, the Europeans are integrated into China and Tianjin, and in specific. I'm not too sure, how that is because, Japan had came in at one point and occupied them. And when I do these kung fu movies, especially going into Ip Man and Fearless, I give you more the historical context because, a lot of that stuff circles around each other. The funny thing is that the movie was very mixed. Just watched a YouTube video of a guy breaking down, Wing Chun, and just the scene, just one scene in particular. And he was saying that people had said that the movie was kind of boring. It does have its boring moments. Only interesting parts, or a part in particular, is of course the fighting. Excuse me, but the funny thing with the fighting, not that many fists are really thrown. It's more of the blade work that's used in this film, more of the Chinese weaponry that's used in this. And it's three particular weapons that are my favorite. One in particular is what the main character uses. It's called the butterfly knife slash sword, which is kind of weird because butterfly knives are pretty much the nunchuck, knives. And I think I seen the weapon before. I thought it didn't exist, but if you're a video gamer, if you played Mortal Kombat, Armageddon, Kano has that particular weapon as his weapon set. Is these big giant, you know, um, knives with a blade. I think the width is widened, but it's like it's pretty much like a few inches bigger than traditional knives. It's not like a machete, but it can still do some damage. And the other weapon I liked, it looked like another weapon from the Mortal Kombat Armageddon game, the Devastator. It's like this giant sword, held by these guys, these older gentlemen. And it's funny because the way they hold a sword is with two hands. And you really have to see the scene because it was very interesting how the blades were used and welded. But in the scene in particular, even the master or the martial arts guy had stated, yeah, he was pretty much saying that actual masters, most of them are out of shape. They just know how to hit people in certain angles. And of course, the character in the fight scene being younger, and also the environment. So the place they were fighting to in this particular scene looked very interesting. Just imagine being atop the Great Wall of China, but you know how that top is double sided. Imagine the walls being extremely higher than you, and of course you're on the ground. I don't know what they call it there, but pretty much a big elongated alley. And it was very interesting because I could, think of fight scenes in that tight quartered space of what they can do. But I bet in other kung fu movies they have done that already. There's a few kung fu films where they do like to fight in tight cornered alleys. I know Ip Man comes to mind, probably one of his movies, and of course some of Jet Li's films. Um, and the other weapon was very interesting. I think I seen the weapon before on Iron Monkey, with Donnie Yen's character and the other protagonists are fighting the governor. But how can I explain this? Imagine two curved blades that look like bananas and they intercross with each other, and certain parts of them are blades. So, or technically, the whole thing are blades. There's a handle in between, of course, but you really have to see a picture of it. I can't remember the name of the particular weapon, but just look up this movie and the weapon sets, or just a featurette, and you'll see it. Most likely, you have to buy this DVD because the video featurette I saw on YouTube, it's in Cantonese. So yeah, you'll see the picture, but the name will be in the Cantonese characters. So um, and like I said, this movie was very mixed. One actress in particular in this movie was very, very beautiful. She played the T girl. She reminded me of one of the girls I had, Vietnamese girls I went to school with, and I looked up the actress up, and it's kind of weird because I can't remember the actual term they used, what it's translated in English, but it looked kind of Arabic when I saw the lettering of where those people are from. Mainly in the nose and the eyes kind of gave it away, and I'm kind of curious to talk to her now and see if she's not only Vietnamese but another descendant part of an Asian group of people. Because when I saw her, I was like, man, she looked like one of the girls I went to high school with, and she had very distinct features that made her really stand out. But the real star of the movie is really the weapons that are featured. One other Chinese weapon that was in here that I haven't seen in a while. I can't remember the name of it, but of course, going back to video games, one of the characters, the female characters from like the early Soul Calibur games had it. It's like a staff with a curved blade on it. Um, I really cannot remember what it was called. A few broadswords are in this, and another interesting weapon one character had. It was like a staff with an axe blade. And again, just the different weapon. Mainly, the weapons are very, very unique in this film. Another good scene, of course. The main character was using a long bamboo staff, bow staff, to keep his enemies a draught while he was talking with his wife. In one scene, another interesting thing that I wonder if it's a real, practice. Again, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, even though I drew it before and I wrote it down. But that wooden dummy thing that Ip Man uses to practice, his Wing Chun on, they had a certain training regiment, but instead of the wooden dummy, um, it was like a set of it was a staff with like different blades, and it was hanging, and one of the characters was training off of that. And it was interesting because not only that, it was the weapon that was used in the movie too. I think that was the other one of my favorites. It was very odd. It was like a staff, and it had two blades at the end of each end. And again, you really have to see a picture of it, versus me describing it, because it looked kind of, yeah, unique. And that's the cool thing with the Chinese, and of course, the Asian part of the world. Actually, many other cultures, just different weapons that were used, and from different dynasties, as well as something new that may have been created. Like that one weapon I just described. I think it was called a moon sword. Now I think about it, or a moon knife, moon or sun knife, something like that. But the one that really interested me in this was the one I described as two bananas intersected except they're blades, and there's a handle in the center. So you know, hopefully other films would like use that. I could see like one of the John Wick movies, using that kind of weapon. Um, but that's pretty much all I have to say. I don't know that many, you know, besides the actors in this. There's really no named names that stand out. A few of them I had looked up. A lot of them, if it wasn't, of course, kung fu, or some of them had did dramas in China. Like the guy that's on the screen right now, he's done like more of dramatic, Chinese features. But that's pretty much all I have to say. Again, you most likely will have to buy the DVD or the Blu-ray to get to see that translation of the weapons in English, or if you're lucky, someone in the comment box on YouTube on that featurette video can describe it, But that's pretty much all I have to say about this film. I will talk to you guys later. Peace.